Good morning, everybody who's joining us today to our other series of the nuts and bolts of leadership from Four Seeds Consulting. And thank you for being patient because we didn't have a session last week because I went on a very well-deserved vacation and feel very energized. Today, we have a very special guest, which I'm honored to really have on our series today, which is Yolandi Erasmus from Novate Legal. And Yolandi is just one of these power women, I would say. She's a superwoman. She's a wife, she is a mother, and she is a really phenomenal business owner and also a dear friend of mine. So it comes with absolute greatness to introduce Yolandi, who is an attorney and has been for the last 10 years, but has been in the legal business for 20 years. And what I really appreciate about Yolandi is that she's an attorney with heart. She's always there giving you advice. She has your best interest at heart, always places you first, and her recommendations come well thought through with sincerity and knowing what you can afford and what's best for your business. So that's something I really dearly cherish about Yolandi. Um, and not taking too much time with introducing her further. I know she's going to blow us away with what she wants to share with us. So I'm going to hand over to Yolandi to take us through what she wants to share with us. And over to you, Yolandi.
Morning, Kirsten, and your listeners. Thank you very much for that warm introduction. I'm very honored to be on this platform of Four Seeds. Our firm has been working with you for more than 7 years through our MD, Eugene Buerta. So you're an exceptional business partner to have, and thank you for that. So it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Novate. And if you can go to the next slide, please, Kirsten. We've got Erasmus Buerta, which is a legal practice that specializes in admin law, commercial legal advisory services, intellectual property, and litigation. Novate is a trading name and company that specializes in corporate finance, BEE ownership structuring, and enterprise risk management. It's the latter that we'd be focusing on today, enterprise risk management. I've got my wonderful team that supports me with 4 commercial attorneys and 2 enterprise risk managers. So what is enterprise risk management? It's identifying potential risk that might negatively affect your business. Traditionally, enterprise risk management, ERM, was focused on financial risk only. More and more, it's a holistic approach to employee, third-party cybersecurity, privacy-related facilities, IT, and data risk. What is the difference between ERM and insurance risk? Insurance risk is the damage has already occurred. This is important to remember. Now the why. Why do you mention, Kirsten, that we've got hard and purpose-driven lawyers? Why do we do what we do? So according to research that South African SMEs fail at a rate between 70 and 80% within the first 3 years. Small and medium enterprises form the backbone of our economy. They started by entrepreneurs who have dreamed to take the risk needed to achieve those dreams. Unfortunately, owner-managed businesses do not have the resources, skills, or time to manage those risks formally. So that is what we do, why we do what we do. If you can go to the next slide, please. Warren Buffett said, never test the depth of the river with both feet. Business leaders and entrepreneurs behind them play to win. They take big risks and often rely on their gut instincts in order to achieve the desired rewards. Even the best gut instincts, however, cannot anticipate every single risk. And most entrepreneurs find it difficult to constantly grow their businesses and increase their profitability. The failure to properly identify the risk gives rise to a pattern of progression and regression, where businesses whose fortunes are on the rise are constrained when hidden risk suddenly materializes. So the question is, in our next slide, if large corporates dedicate considerable resources toward implementation of risk management systems and processes in order to manage the risk, what differentiates your business from the more established companies? How is your business insulated against the inherent risk to which it is exposed? King Code tells us, in enterprise is the understanding of risk for reward. It's how the entrepreneur manages the risk that determines the size of the reward. In our next slide, we'll see an introduction to the high-performance risk management process. Entrepreneurs are often highly skilled, very talented individuals who have identified gaps in the market which they are uniquely positioned to exploit. Gaps in the market close quickly, and business leaders cannot afford to spend weeks assessing the risk before responding. Exploiting opportunities is an extremely risky process, and very often the lack of risk management results in significant losses, which could have easily been avoided. In front of you, you'll see the 11 risk environments. They are derived from the 65 big risk environments. Each of them also have a subcategory of the risk environment. Gary Kahn said, if you don't invest in risk, it doesn't matter what business you're in a risky business. We've found a wealth of information online about effective enterprise risk management. Our research, however, indicates that the information is tailored to the large corporates and not designed for the fast-growing owner-managed business in mind. Let's have a look at what this makes different to your bigger companies. Large corporations have financial resources to employ the teams of risk management experts, legal services, governance services, and compliance advisors. This very often, owner-managed businesses have small teams who are experts in operations, finances, and zero experts in the risk management outside of their field of expertise. Also, entrepreneurs have an extraordinary risk appetite. They embody the ideals of Branson's, screw it, let's do it. And we love that about entrepreneurs. But given that 80% of startups fail within the first 3 years, the undertaking of risk without proper management is clearly resulting in massive losses. In fact, the lack of enterprise risk management is quite possibly the greatest destroyer of shareholders' wealth in the world today. Then we've got the entrepreneurs with the no-time environment. Entrepreneurs are too busy for proper risk management systems. In front of you, you'll see the risk management process which we conduct. We help you identify the risk environment and under each of those risk environments, the subcategories of the risk that can arise. We assist each of these main risk environments and the subcategory. And we determine the likelihood and impact which we have to, in the next step, then mitigate through legal risk governance and compliance solutions. We monitor those risks and give reporting. That helps the entrepreneur to understand at any given time in that specific risk, where is the focus and where can the fire start. So, having said all of this, under each of those environments, conducting this process, it can at least take 3 full business days for the entrepreneur to evaluate that, to do the risk identification, risk assessment, and risk plan. The truth is that very few owner-managed businesses can afford to have the entrepreneur spend 3 full days per risk environment to focus their time on the time-consuming risk management process. However, failing to do that often results in business triggering risk that costs the entrepreneur far more time and money than the risk management would have taken. After identifying this whole process, we would like to say tribute to all those entrepreneurs. Next slide, please.
Sorry.
To the risk takers, our mavericks, our fearless leaders, and bold bosses of industry. We are in awe of what you're trying to achieve and believe what you're trying to build.
Sorry, I was trying to write a comment and manage the slides.
We know you have fought for every inch of your success and you're fighting fires every single day. We respect that. The journey is not about to become easier. As your success leads to growth, it also leads to increased risk. As your risk management team, we can help you secure your legacy and make your mark. We can help you predict where the fires are going to start and equip your team to solve these problems. Not every business, Kirsten, is ready for high-performance risk management. We work with ambitious entrepreneurs that have established companies looking to expand their operations and really drive the sustainable growth of the company to the next level. The question is, are you ready to drive your business to the next level? So that is it from my side.
Thank you so much, Yolandi. I think it's just mind-blowing that it's those 3 days to evaluate risk. And also from, I think, both of our experiences, being very aware that entrepreneurs are very creative, innovative individuals who come up with very novel ideas and want to serve their clients, and often have an ostrich syndrome when it comes to risk, hoping it doesn't happen to me, or even are reactive towards it, that when it's happened, they only think about it. And I remember when I sat on the boards, all the board directors had to do a risk evaluation. So what's the probability of this happening? What are all the possible risks that can happen in your business? And then what's the probability and what's the risk mitigation? And I recall that was one of the most challenging activities for them, because you can't sometimes think of what is some of the risks. Some of them are unforeseen and some of them you might predict. And then what are you going to do about them? And
Exactly.
I'm sure you're experiencing that all the time.
Yes, on the boards, we sit on bigger, we call them serial entrepreneurs with a lot of businesses, a lot of things going on, and our smaller entrepreneurs, or let's rather say our growing entrepreneurs. When we receive risk registries, it's all about the operational risk, but they haven't considered the bigger impact and the holistic approach of all the risk environments. I mean, operations is but one risk environment. So we regularly receive the operation risk registry, and even in that process, which is good, they identify the likelihood of impact. But what they forget about doing is, after the mitigation process, you have to reassess that risk and make sure that the likelihood and impact actually decreased. Otherwise, why are you mitigating the risk? Are you mitigating it properly?
So what would be perhaps one or two tips you would give business owners who are not part of that, ready to be a serial, have those services, but to perhaps who's just a solo entrepreneur, or maybe you have 2 or 3 people in the business, to think of risk more proactively, because we want to really prevent them from being part of that 70-80% equation of failing?
So definitely, we've got a white paper that explains exactly what we do and how we do it for each and every risk. So I'm happy to share that with you. And if there are any listeners that you can share that with, like you said, our heart is really in it. And we do realize that not every single business already or have the means to have the enterprise risk management team behind them. So we've conducted every single step that you can take into our white paper and broken it down into what you need to consider, how you do that, how you set up your risk registry for every single environment, how do you evaluate that and monitor it, and the action outcomes out of that. It's very important. If you do risk on a monthly basis and let's say you do IT risk this month and next month customer risk, there are still action items derived from the IT risk in your previous month that needs to pull through into this month. So we've got a white paper explaining specifically that, where we've really wanted to share what we do and how we do for those entrepreneurs that have the time to do it themselves.
That would be great. So they can reach out to me and I can forward it on to them, because as entrepreneurs, I think holding ourselves accountable is always challenging. We'll have those action items. We see the urgency, the need, but we try and pause it for another month. So I think partnering with you would be phenomenal, because you are then there, i.e. holding them accountable, making sure it happens and preventing that downfall. And I read an article this morning about the Great Resignation, which I think is something that's been looming for a while, but it's now finally been noted or documented in South Africa. However, they've said the difference in South Africa is that a lot of the employees in the Great Resignation are not seeking other employment. They're actually starting their own businesses. So we're going to have more and more entrepreneurs opening up or mushrooming, and not all of them are perhaps or have the skills to think about risk.
I know, and I've read that same article this morning. And I know, I've got friends all over the world that there is a big resignation and they just jump ship and go to another company, where in South Africa, they said that's the main identifier. So if we take somewhat up to 80% of our GDP in Gauteng is our SMEs, then we'll see that rising. And that's why we want to support them. They are the backbone of the economy. And, even just that jump from being employed to becoming the employer, there are risks involved just from do you have a restraint of trade? What is the intellectual property you're going to be using in your business? Is it yours actually? So even in that process, we want to be there, because we know that come back and bite you.
Yeah, and I know one of your, I'm going to call them mantras, are that you're trying to prevent businesses from not going to court, because that is the most expensive legal fee and investment, and is obviously just very emotionally draining, and takes also a lot of energy away from focusing on the business. So sometimes it's more penny wise to invest with you and not be foolish, and really spend that money based on your budget, and have a legal partner by your side. I know it's been something that's been very helpful for me, to make sure that all the contracts, the agreements are covered. And then if there's any questions I have, to just have a sounding board, to sometimes say, am I at risk here? Do I have to worry about this or not? So I think it would be so wonderful if listeners could reach out to you and just sometimes see, based on their budgets, what can you offer. And I remember when you did it with me, we rolled it out over a time period and said, all right, this is what all needs to be done, and we're going to do this over a 6-month period, and we're going to take what's the most critical for your business right now, and what was critical for you wasn't critical for me. But I understood where you said, no, this is actually more important to focus on. This is your bigger risk factor. So
Exactly. And it's just having that guide with you. I mean, we've services, manufacturing industries, the ITC industry, retail specifically as well. And you sometimes you can't think of everything. You're so busy in the business and focusing on hitting your dreams and your goals that you miss these pitfalls that can cost you in the long run. And that's why we're there. And we do the monthly engagement. We believe that we can do it for a set fee, and that set fee is specific to every entrepreneur. I mean, every business, every person you deal with is so different that we customize it specifically for that business.
yeah, and I also know your rates for entrepreneurs are absolutely palatable. It's not like, I know normal lawyers. I mean, there's a known for it that they get charged by the hour, which then clocks up a huge bill. Where it doesn't happen by you, as you say, it's a set fee, it's a set package. You know what you're getting.
Yes, so it will depend on entrepreneur to entrepreneur, but we like working on a monthly engagement. If there's a document we need to deliver or strategy to be discussing with you, it's not only just sending it. I want to have that follow-up discussion, because what we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, they breach their own agreements and then they end up in court. And our motto is more business, less court.
Yes.
So we want them to understand their own documents, not just having your lawyer send something and you have to read it, and, setting up that consultation with you and going through that so you can identify certain aspects of your business which that document might not read to, but only you would know that. And soundboarding that and the scenarios that can arise is just so important.
And I think that consultation is so powerful because you make it very bespoke to that business. And also from personal experience, what I really appreciated from the consultation or even reading the legal agreements is they're simple to understand. I mean, I think we've all read legal agreements where we've gone, I haven't got a clue what they're saying here. Let's just sign it. Where yours aren't. They're simple. The layman can understand it, which I think is an exceptionally powerful uniqueness Novat Legal has.
We definitely strive to do that. Like I've told you before, there are certain things in law that we have to write in that just sounds so legal, but it's the nuts and bolts of it where we want to get to the heart of why that document is drafted or why that mitigation factor is being considered, and doing it to specifically cater for that entrepreneur.
Okay, so Yolandi, unfortunately, our time is up. We want to keep it as much as we can to the 20 minutes. For the listeners who are listening to this right now, who will be listening to this going forward, on the slide you can see Yolandi's email address. If you want to reach out to her directly for either that white paper or a consultation or anything we've discussed, or just get an opinion from her, please feel free to reach out to her. Like I say, she is a lawyer by heart, is very passionate about it, and will always find a solution that works for you. So thank you sincerely, Yolandi, for being our guest today. I appreciate your time. I know time is of value for all of us, and as a lawyer, maybe even more. So thank you very much. I'm sure you've given us lots of food for thought, and that it's actually just wiser to have a legal partner by your side than trying to do it on your own as a business owner. It's just going to be more costly. Like you say, nobody's got 3 days to spare, and I don't think we'll get it right. It takes away from our business focus and our model. That's not what we meant to. And the aim is just to really help our businesses grow and thrive. So thank you so much. I really appreciated your time and your expert presentation.
Now, I'm grateful for the opportunity, Kirsten. So the more entrepreneurs we can reach, the better. So thank you for taking me along in this journey of 4Seeds. And I mean, your leadership videos weekly is part of our culture. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. So thank you for our listeners who tuned in today, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Friday, same time, where the topic will be managing expectations. And I'll leave it as that and not give you more of the secret. But what does that actually mean to manage expectations? So thank you very much, and take all good care. Bye-bye.
Bye.